This is Alexander. This is going to be the first tutorial about how to use the user interface elements and the terminology for that. So first I'm going to go to create a new part. So File, New, Part, select OK. Now the purpose of this video again is to show you elements of the user interface. So one of the first things you'll notice here is that when SolidWorks, at least as far as SolidWorks 2025, is that the first thing that happens is it actually puts you into a sketch. And if you look down here, the front plane is the sketch plane. Oftentimes you want to specify what the actual sketch plane that you choose to sketch on. So I want you guys to, as soon as you open up SolidWorks, uncheck the sketch, which exits sketch, and then if you try to create a new sketch by clicking on sketch right there, and then use the middle mouse button by pressing the wheel down, and that will get you this rotate. And then you can choose sketch planes from here, or if you go over to this tab, you can choose sketch planes. And then once you choose a sketch plane that you prefer, in this case, I'm just going to go with front again. Shows down here that that's what sketch plane I'm in. And then start. If you wanted to choose the top or the right, you'd have to be outside of sketch mode. So right now I'm in sketch mode by looking at this button up here. There's also these two other buttons to indicate whether or not you're in sketch mode, or whether you're in no mode, or whether you're in a three-dimensional feature mode, okay? And I'll go through those differences in this tutorial. So it's not really easy to always notice these buttons. It's a little bit easier to see that if this is depressed, it's kind of gray, and it says exit sketch, that means you're in a sketch, okay? So if I go back here and just left click in this gray space, I'm going to always refer to this gray space in the middle. I'm trying to circle it with my icon as I go here. That's what I'm going to refer to as the graphics window or graphics area. I may use them interchangeably because that's where the graphics, the 3D models are going to show up. This toolbar, especially when we're in this tab, Feature Manager, I'm going to call it Feature Tree. Most of the time, that's how I'm going to refer to it. This is where you want to always be looking for all your things. Like right now, it's about ready to do a sketch. I haven't added anything yet though. So if I want to exit sketch mode, let's say I didn't want to sketch on the front plane, I simply exit sketch there, and then select top, and then go back into sketch. Okay, now it shows here sketch 3. The numbers don't really matter. I'm never going to take points off of that. Alright, enough with getting into sketch mode. Up here, I'm going to refer to this as like the ribbon bar or the command manager. Up here, I'm going to refer to this as the overall SolidWorks menu. So ribbon bar, menu. I highly recommend that you click this little pin. If you don't, it will hide that. So if you open that up and then click that pin, then you can always go quickly to, things like view, turn on different axes, things like that, tools. It's a lot easier to do. I don't know why they hide that, okay? Now, even before I get going, if I've created something, or even if I haven't created something, it's not ever a bad idea to hit save. One, because it will make sure as you're moving forward, document doesn't have empty sketch. You want to delete an empty sketch? Yes. So it might as well just, name the part. Tutorial 1. The other reason I did that is because sometimes you'll get this rebuild and save the document. Always say yes, okay? Another reason I did that is because I want to go and show you once again how to get into sketch mode. This time I'm going to be on the front plane. Okay, so some quick things that I want to highlight. So let's just create a couple different lines. When I start a sketch, I want to always somehow reference the origin, okay? This is the origin, this little two red axes. The center, though, right there is the origin that I'm highlighting. You notice that little yellow box? That's going to say I'm going to make this first point of this line coincidence with that origin. This entire front plane is infinitesimally large. Think of it as an infinitesimally large plane. Okay, so you need to tell SolidWorks what's inside. I'm just speaking through this operation. What's inside and what's outside. And I'll explain what I mean when I finish this. Okay, you see how it shows up here in gray? Now, this sort of gray area in this square rectangular feature, sorry, is the inside. At all times, you want to create some kind of 2D feature, in this case, a rectangular feature, and you want to look for this information that kind of suggests that now SolidWorks knows as far as a program what's inside and then outside is over here. Now also notice that I have this line sketch thing, this little icon. If you simply hit escape, it gets you out of that. Escape will get you out of a lot of operations. If you want to create more lines, that's fine, but we already have some inside object that we can project into 3 dimensions, okay? The other thing that I want to highlight is if I select different lines, you notice how it says parameters down here. Parameters are just parameters. They're not defining that line. So as I change this value, that line gets longer, okay? This is not the same thing as doing a dimension. They're different. This is just information. It's never going to set the dimension, okay? Smart dimension will set the dimension for this length. This is just going to show you what the value currently is, and if you want to try to change it from here, that's fine. The last thing I want to highlight over and over again, in almost every feature, you can choose this fix button. Never, ever, ever hit the fix button. Never use it for anything. I wish it was never there. It's simply SolidWorks' way of allowing you to fix something into this position, but we do not want to do that ever. We are designers or engineers. We know we're going to give dimensions, and then we can specify that. We don't want to just fix it randomly in space, okay? So I'm just going through and quickly giving some dimensions, and then so I can show you another thing. You might show this as make dimensions driven. No, you don't want to do that. Hit cancel. What it's popping up with you there is you're trying to define two things that were already defined. So I need to actually define this edge. And I'll go over that in more detail in the next tutorial. I'm focusing more on the interface. So the interface feature I want to highlight here is fully defined, and then also you notice how the lines are all black. If I hit escape to escape out of dimension mode, I can't move these lines. Okay, I can't. If I select things, I can't do anything with them. That's because I'm fully defined. That's what you're searching. You're always going to. I would highly recommend that you always do that before you go into 3 dimensions. Okay. Okay, so after you're done, you can always hit escape or checkbox. Let's say I'm done with this sketch now. Now there's 2 ways of going now into save reminder. Let's save. There are 2 things about going into 3 dimensions that I want to warn you about. There's one, you could just stay in your sketch, and if you want to do that, you're ready, and you think you want to go into, let's say, just an extrude boss, then you can do that. If you're not sure, then you can finish the sketch or exit the sketch. I'll use 2 different terms by clicking there or clicking here. Okay. Now, the biggest thing I've noticed in students is that, and it's natural, you might want to select this, select these things in here or select all or try to do something like that. Or you might jump up and say, well, I'm going to extrude, then you kind of say this stuff. It will kind of work. It will seem like it's going to work. But if you had more complex sketch, it's a really, really bad thing to do. So do not do that. I know that all the stuff that I did, all the work that I did is all contained within the sketch in the feature tree. Okay, So I want to select the sketch from that, or I want to be in the sketch like I am now, and then extrude. Okay? That means that, I mean, I know it looks the same, but look, it's slightly different. So it's got the sketch for all the components of that. That's what you're looking for. You're also looking for this yellow. That indicates that SolidWorks knows what to do. It has enough information. It knows, okay, there was a square, or yeah, square feature, and then I can project that into 3 dimensions. And then you can simply say, okay, last couple of things I'm going to highlight is how do I get to maybe modifying those things I've done in the past. So right click and edit feature will take you right back and say, I want to maybe make this a little bit different. You can click that arrow there. You can click the other arrow, create another direction. I don't want to do that right now. And click in this box here. Let's just make it a cube. If I wanted to edit the sketch, I can either select on the container, this little folder, which sometimes if you don't know, you can open it. I can actually click in there and edit sketch, or I can right click on the sketch, and in the upper left hand corner, that menu that pops up, by right clicking, I can edit sketch and go and edit my sketch. Okay, that's all for this tutorial, and don't ever forget to hit save before you end, and that's all.